Okay, let's talk about the call, right? The play that obviously changed up the game. The second down from the 4-yard line, the Mariota pass, the Arthur Smith call. Okay, let me say it like this. I did not agree with passing. I know people are going to say, well, he was open. Well, every play in the NFL is called to be open. Hello? That's why the guys call it. Like, no coach has ever called a play thinking that it's going to get shut down for a 10-yard loss. Every play is supposed to be open. If you call a play where a guy's on a 9 route and you're going to throw it 70 yards downfield to him, you expect him to be open. That's why you called the play. So that's not an excuse. A good play call with a bad result doesn't make it a good play call. Do I think the Falcons should run the football? Absolutely. Let me tell you why. Okay. Several things about this. Number one is the fact that on that final drive, the Falcons were averaging over 4.5 yards a carry. They were averaging almost 6 yards a carry for the game. Yes, I understand things get clammed up and jammed up and banged up and all this kind of stuff, right? And we had seen Mariota take a loss, on the play before, and they were using their timeouts and everything like that. I get all of that. But what do the Falcons do best? What is their best offensive philosophy? It is to run the football, and run the football, frankly, on the right-hand side of your line of scrimmage. That's your best option. There's nothing that the Falcons do better offensively than run the football on the right-hand side of their line where McGary and Lindstrom stand. So when you don't do that, for a guy who keeps preaching to us about, winning football, winning football is running behind Lindstrom and McGary. That's winning football. That's where the Falcons are at their best offensively, right? So that's one. Number two, how many guys are talking around the league, coaches, GMs, analysts, NFL Network, CBS, Fox? How much conversation have you heard over the last few years, anybody saying this? Well, Marcus Mariota, he's one of those clutch quarterbacks that makes plays in games late and helps you to win games. How often do we hear that in the NFL? I'll answer it for you. None. Bupkis, zip, nada, zero. Of course we don't. So putting the ball in his hands and asking a guy to make a play that hasn't done this for his whole career. Why did he get the name Matty Ice? Why did we give Matt Ryan that name? Because he brings teams back from the dead, brings them from behind, and won football games. Does anybody call him Marcus Ice? Has anybody ever called him Mauro Ice Toe? Anybody call him those? Of course not. So you're asking a guy who doesn't thrive in these situations to go make a play. Well, Duran played, man. Yeah, because again, let me ask you this, okay? If you make that call with Brady or Rodgers or Breeze or Ryan and Mariota or Zach Wilson or one of the vagabonds of the NFL, who you trust in? It's a whole different thing to trust the quarterback to make that play. And I'm not completely blaming him for the play or whatever. It's just when you ask a guy who doesn't have DNA to do this, to go out there and make these kinds of plays, and you don't do what you're best at, you lose. This reminds me of Mark Wohlers in the 1996 World Series. Remember when he gives up the home run to Jim Leyritz, and we looked at it and said, yeah, it sucks that Leyritz hit the home run, but when you find out and realize that he gave up the home run on his fourth best pitch, it magnified it, and it's like, wait a second. Wohlers is throwing in the high 90s or 100 miles an hour. Why are you not rearing back and firing on Jim Leyritz? Why are you throwing some tomato can up there at him? Right? That was what was so frustrating. As much as the home run frustrated us in 96, it was the pitch that he threw to Leyritz. Like, why are you throwing your third or fourth best pitch? Rear back and fire in that situation. Go out with your best pitch. And it haunted Wohlers, right? Haunted him for the rest of his career. If you're going to get beat with your best, right? The Falcons didn't get beat with their best yesterday. Their best is, even if it means getting stuffed behind the line of scrimmage 3 times on the right-hand side, that is still your best pitch. Your best pitch is not ask my mediocre quarterback to drop back and read and make a play and all that. That's not where it is. Even if he was open, how many times have we seen guys running down the field wide open that he can't make a play on? That's the thing. You're not doing what you do best. And when you get away from that, because I saw a lot of people that said that, well, if they'd have scored a touchdown, everything would have fine. No, if they score a touchdown, they win the game. But that's not how they do best. What was more likely? Let's put it like this. What was more likely to happen when Mariota drops back and you're asking him to make a pass play down deep there? Are the chances that everything is going to go great and it's going to be successful, or is it going to be, oh crap? Going to be the SHTF, oh crap moment? Of course, it's going to be down here because the guy doesn't have a track record of doing that. So they should have ran the football. It should have been as easy as running the football, even if it's a couple of times. You bang it up in there and you chip away at it. You've got Huntley, you've got Algier, you've got Patterson. One of the other things about that game is I didn't think they gave Patterson the ball nearly enough. 11 carries and 3 receptions. That wasn't nearly enough. He's your best offensive player. He should have been in the 20s for his touches. But I did not like the call. I did not like getting away from the run. I don't like anything that isn't what the Falcons do best. And what the Falcons do best is they run the football, and especially running it on the right-hand side. That's where they do best, is run behind McGarry, run behind Lindstrom, run behind those guys, and chip away at it. By the way, they were at the 4-yard line. It's not like it was 1st and goal from the 11. They were at the 4. Even with Mariota's 2-yard loss on the play before, they were at the 4. You still had 3 downs to try to make 4 yards. If you can't, then you pat the Redskins on the back and say, okay, you were better than us. But the idea of trying to get cute down there when you're averaging on that drive, by the way, over 4.5 yards per rush, that's what made it so frustrating, is you were having success. It's not like they had been bogging down the run game. And I understand when you're down near the goal line, okay, you're not shedding any new and interesting light about the idea of things get tighter. You still do what you do best. You still don't go and do something that you don't do very well. And that's what ended up happening yesterday. So I disagree with Arthur Smith on the call. I disagree with the idea of getting away from what our best option is down deep there. It's frustrating, but it is what it is. And as frustrating as it was, you can't double down and run into the punter, right? And that's why I say 4 to 6 plays that dictate a game. How many of those 4 to 6 plays did you win? How many did you lose? Yesterday, the Falcons lost more of those plays than they won, and the scoreboard ends up reflecting all of that. I want to remind you to make Locked On Sports Today your second listen. Of course, the biggest stories of the day, instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day after you've made Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta. After you've made that your first listen, get over to Locked On Sports Today. Check out all of the news and information up to date. They are free and available on Odyssey, YouTube, all of your favorite podcast platforms. Check them out today.